Hi everyone. So today is a channeled message, and the message overall is the answer is yes. Whatever it is that you feel fearful about, whatever it is that feels like a sense of lack. So whether this is a lack of information, lack of acknowledgement, lack of growth, lack of finances, lack of some sort of resource, you will be receiving that. But you need to fall into faith. They're bringing me to Jesus as the example and Mother Mary, and they're really highlighting Mother Mary, and they're identifying you in a similar fashion as Mother Mary, in the sense that Mother Mary was a human being, okay, who gave birth to Jesus. And in my interpretation, my eyes, and what I've seen from my visions, is Jesus is a healer, much like a lot of these other enlightened beings that, cultures claim to be God realized, is, God coming down in the form of man or woman and exemplifying what God is truly trying to say to us, because God is of such pure source that at our soul's core, at our essence, we are of God, we are of that purity. But because we're existing here on earth, then we are half man, which means we are subject to misinterpretation, we're subject to our personal sins and the beast system, because we are half beast. And all of the lessons and growth that we need to have anyway in order for us to become more purified, enlightened souls, and less bound to, less desire to be bound by these types of limitations that we have in these systems that keep us less of spirit. And so in order for Mother Mary to have really, it's like following her calling. She had to be obedient to God. She had to be obedient to her inner temple. She had to be devoted to what she felt called to do, who she felt called to reach out to. All of these, one second, allergy season. So she really had to be devoted. She had to listen to herself, because her purpose in life as this human being, just this person, she was chosen to follow something bigger than herself, a very monumentous thing that she was called to do: give birth to God himself, God realized in human form, and to have this miracle occur, right? And so she had to rely on faith. What is that saying that's in the Bible? It's like rely on faith, not sight. Is that what it is? Like, be led by faith, not by sight. So when things are largely happening in the physical world that doesn't realign with what faith is telling you, you have to fall back into that belief that God has everything working out for you. You are not stronger than God, you are not more knowing than God, and you never will be. And no one else, not even Satan himself, has the power that God has. And so in that should bring relief in this circumstance, because there has to be a point where you realize you have to just give it up to God. You just have to say, okay, I've done my best. I've said enough. I've done everything that I can in this situation. Now I can reshift my focus onto something that is productive, that can keep me moving, keep me going, and keep me, they're showing me a garden. And they're saying how, look at the garden and how oftentimes things will fall away and things will bloom, right? So if you have an all-season garden, you'll interplant different things where something is always alive, something is always blooming. And so look at your life and look at this circumstance as an all-season garden. So as things are falling away, that is because more energy is being transferred to something that is going to be growing. So transfer that energy, transfer that attention. You've done everything you can in that, and let nature take its course with that. Now you can focus all of your maintenance, all of your energy, all of your time, all of your attention to something else. You're not neglecting that other thing. You're not abandoning that other thing. That other thing is being taken care of by a power that is more knowing, it's all knowing, all understanding, that is destined to serve you and your growth. It is not there to cause you harm. It isn't there to cause you turmoil or it's like, no matter how much energy or focus you put on this, you've done everything you can. You've done enough. So now it's that circumstance that needs divine intervention. It needs some other source, a higher power, higher source, God itself, to handle it. And you just have to trust that it's going to unfold. It's going to connect to you and react to you in a way that it's going to make sense. You will see the divine purpose in this. So focus your attention on the things also that need your attention, because if you focus on something that is under God's control, right? Like, no matter how much you focus on that, you cannot force it to bloom. You can't. This all-season garden is literally outdoor. You're not going to build a greenhouse, and you're not going to, artificially create that thing to keep going. You're not. You're just not. You're not going to do it. It's not possible. Sorry, can't. So if you do that, or like you keep focusing on that, then you're going to largely neglect all the other blessings that are in your life, all the things you could be grateful for. Again, that's not abandoning this. That's not letting that go completely. That's just saying, I know I did everything that I can. Now I can shift my focus onto things that I can find joy in, things that I can be engaged in, and let the chips fall where they may. That's what I have to do. And they're highlighting obedience. Just like Mother Mary was obedient to God. She was obedient in the sense that there was no choice. That feeling in her of like, and I know we've all felt this at one point in life where it's like an example I have is like doing this kind of stuff, right? It's like, I have no choice in the matter. Like, that's how powerful it is for me, that you cannot stop me from doing this. This is my inner calling. This is what I've been told to do, and I will be obedient to it. It is so uncomfortable to resist something that God Himself is pushing me to do, is encouraging me to do. The light is pushing me towards my purpose, my calling, right? It's someone who's passionate about whatever their career is. It's someone who's passionate about whatever artistic expression they have. It's passionate about reaching out to someone, right? It doesn't come from a place of lack. It doesn't come from a place of selfish desires, the beast desires, the internal, like, it's selfish. It's like, oh, I want to talk to them, or I want to say so. It's not like that at all, right? When you feel the two differences between those things, it's not compulsive. It's like, you cannot stop me from doing this because I feel it so profoundly that I have to do this. And there's a shift that's happening or has happened with you that is pulling you towards refocusing. It's like because you doing all you can was that inner calling, was that obedience. You were obedient to that so that you can find closure and peace in that, saying, I did everything I can. I did everything I can. So you returning and returning and returning and focusing and focusing and focusing. It's cleaning up the garden. It's cleaning it up, winterizing it, allowing it to rest so that you can move on and not sit there and say, oh my gosh, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. You did it all because you felt that you had to do that. It was right for you at that time. It was right for you to return to it at that time. Clean it up, back off, clean it up, back off. Now, that garden is going to feel the same direct obedience that you felt to take care of its needs. It's going to do the same thing that you felt, but it's going to do it upon itself. And it's going to bloom in the most gorgeous, beautiful way, right? It's like when it blooms on God's timing, you will be amazed. It's like, you know, usually if you plant something by the third season, if it's perennial, it's third, fourth, fifth season, they're really, really taking off, right? This is that. This is the multiple seasons. It's not just kind of coming back little by little and you're kind of not really, it's like, that's cute, but I can't wait till it gets bigger. It's going to be that season of abundance, that season of nearly overabundance, but it can never quite be that way. It's just like spilling out, because the way I'm seeing it is like this river of flowers. So it's blooming and it just creates a river and it's just cascading and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, like I would think that that's a little too much, but because I was focusing my attention somewhere else, and to see this, it's like you've come into some sort of awareness where, and growth in your own way, that it's like you've changed. It's like you went from having this cottage traditional type, maybe not cottage, but like I would say like the traditional, I don't know what it would be called. I think that's why I say cottage, but it's like box, like English gardens kind of, like where it's very specific, you know, and very symmetrical. It's like you're very symmetrical. And so when you're focusing on this other garden, this other, you know, group of flowers, by the time that this blooms, you've already transferred your attention or your likes or dislikes to being a little bit more loose, a little bit more zen, a little bit more like a traditional Japanese garden where it kind of just naturally goes somewhere. So when you see this and it's flowing outside of the bed, you've changed. Where now you're seeing that and you're appreciating it for its natural movement and you appreciate it and you like it. And it's like, wow, I needed that. But had I gone a different route, I would never know I needed that. Like I would never know, because maybe I would be stuck in having this symmetrical garden. And so I wouldn't really see the beauty or change my perception of what I like to something a little bit more untamed. And where does this lead me to? Like now I feel more expansive. Now I want even a wildflower garden. I want it to be more of a naturalistic garden where you know I'm helping pollinators, and that's my focus. And it's not even about the way that it looks. It's this shift in you, a change in you, that this distance, it just naturally happens. And when this thing that you've done all you can and left behind comes back around, you see how that energy matches. It's like I was like about to explain it and I'm like, how do I explain it? I was just about to. So it's as if you had that traditional style, symmetrical style. And if you kept focusing on this garden that was starting to winterize, you would remain fixated on that to come back into bloom in a symmetrical fashion. And you would not appreciate it for the rest of the blooms. You would be picking them up and tossing them, composting them. You wouldn't appreciate it in its new form because you would have remained stagnant. You would be denying your growth, this natural growth, this inner calling. Because you have an inner calling to do something different. It's like to be different. But it's not like there's anything wrong with you. It's like, it would be someone who, because I'm seeing health also, it's like to take care of your health. And I've mentioned this before in other videos and stuff about like weight and everything. I genuinely, sincerely think all bodies are beautiful. I need to lose weight myself. It's not about whether someone is attractive or not at different weights. It's about health. You have to prioritize your health. You have to make sure that you're functioning at the best of your abilities without, obviously you can go too far, you can do too much, but you have to find that healthy balance because you want to follow your purpose in life. You want to be that person that can connect to your intuition, right? When you're taking in so many different things that disconnect you from your spirituality, you know, disconnect you from it. There are foods and your weight and everything that'll bring you to a lower vibration, and lack of movement will bring you to a lower vibration. And you want to be here for as long as you're meant to be here. You know, you want to take care of yourself. And so I do see health being a focus here in some ways. And again, it's not in a shallow fashion. It's more of, that's where I see a difference. It's like you're taking up, you know, walking, you know, or you're taking up like walking in botanical gardens. Like it's something different, something changing in you that somehow enhances this experience when it comes back together. It feels like this experience when it comes back together is like it just matches. It's like, I mean, that they're showing me, I haven't seen, I don't watch TV, but it's like The Bachelor and Bachelorette. Back in the day when it was on, I remember, and there's these two people on there. It's like Kaylin and Dean. And I know that like they're like married, or I don't know. There's like, it's always people I know, like whatever. And so, it's like that, where it's like two different people, where she's, you know, not really an outdoorsy person, or wasn't, and he is. And so this distance from these two things is like, you naturally, where it's like, oh, you know, I weightlift, whatever. I don't like being outdoors. And then you're like, okay, you know what? I just kind of feel like I want to start going to different gardens. So you start walking around there. That's somehow prepping you to finding your Dean, who is this avid outdoorsman. And so when you're together, it kind of preps you in some way. So it's like, okay, well, I guess I'm open to it, and I've done this. I'm not as like, you know, intense as you, but I have a little bit to kind of draw from that kind of opened the door to this new experience. And I heard the word glamorous, and I went like this because it's like this crescent moon. It's like a crescent moon, and it's like sparkly, like super, super sparkly. And they're saying something like you don't have to live you don't have to glamorize your life, or you don't have to live a glamorous life necessarily, but, or you don't have to, something about glamorizing something and you not having to necessarily do that. And then I'm seeing nails, like fingernails, and it's like, I have my scribble pad. Why don't I use this? I heard life will always meet you where it can, and people will always meet you where they can. And that's something that you're really coming into the understanding about, is that people can only meet you as far as they're capable of meeting you. And there's something, they're showing me like candles, right? They're actually showing me specifically Bath and Body Works candles and the candle holders, and like lighting the candles. And then they're showing me fingernails, and they're showing me a clean house, and they're showing me how those are small ways of feeling a little bit more glamorized or clean. So they're saying to kind of just invite little glamorous instances are meaningful. And then they're showing me vacuuming, and you know how you can put, well, you can buy like the powders you can lay down before you vacuum. And for me, I use the baking soda and I put essential oils, and it smells really, really nice. But it adds this little element of just feeling good. So they're saying it can be something very minute as that, like just a little bit, right? You don't have to go out and buy, I mean, Bath and Body Works, they're pretty expensive candles anyway, if you purchase those, but there's largely much more expensive candles than that. And there's also less, there's more affordable candles also, depending on your budget. And so it's finding what's within your budget, and what you identify as a little bit more glamour, just a touch of glamour in your life, and to welcome it. It's like invite that in. It doesn't have to be extreme, but they're saying like neutralize something, like neutralize it. Neutralize it. Like find some sort of balance between kind of that earthy kind of life, an earthy element, and like an untamed element, and then a touch of glamour. Find a balance there, because that's a way that you can take care of yourself. They're saying kind of like mothering yourself, and they're showing Mother Mary again. It's like that's a way to care for yourself. It's kind of like buying yourself presents, buying yourself trinkets. It's something that's functional and is psychologically beneficial for you, because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good about yourself, makes you feel pampered, makes you feel special. They're saying do something small like that for yourself, like little small things, and let it add up over time. All right, you don't have to go out and do everything at once. Just every couple weeks or every couple months, just do a little bit different, something else to, again, mother yourself, parent yourself, and surprise yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your environment. Trust in higher forces. Trust in God. It's 22:22 on the timer. 22:22. Trust. Fall into faith that you've done everything you can. Now let's take care of you. Let's take care of small needs that will make a big difference in your life, and give to yourself because the answer's ultimately yes. Swing back to the beginning. The answer is yes. So you don't have to worry. You can think about whatever this is as much as you want. Focus on it as much as you want, but you're not God. You will never be God. You'll never be stronger than God. So, it is what it is. Whatever happens is in divine order. So find relief in that and shift it towards that inner obedience that you feel, and that embodiment in many ways of Mother Mary, of saying, I know a miracle is occurring in my life, and I may not fully understand it, but I know that I'm prepared for it, because God would never place these circumstances or heaviness on me if I wasn't capable of handling it. And so I will be grateful and find gratitude in things in my life that I know are blessings, and those blessings that will soon occur for me as well. And so I can just trust that this will get taken care of in due time. And I will shift my focus onto things that I know that is within the element of my control, and that I'm being guided to do, because I feel guided to release this. It's not letting go completely. It's just letting it take its natural course. And I'm going to feel so proud and so happy of my growth, my inner temple, my inner vision, my inner changes, and my external changes as well. And I will see how that makes sense very, very soon. It feels very soon. What soon is, it's within a year, because I'm just seeing this as a clock. So that's why I'm saying within a year, because there's 12. But I don't have a time frame. I really don't have a time frame. It could literally be within a year. It could be like right freaking now. So that's what I see. All right. Toodaloo.